Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's Appraisal Buzzcast. We've got a great episode for you today, but let me bring in Hal Humphreys, our host, and we'll get started. Hey, Hal, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Jim, how are you today?
I'm doing great. We have a wonderful guest and somebody who I'm actually surprised we haven't had as a guest before. We have Rachel Beam from Fannie Mae joining us today. Hey, Rachel, how are you?
Hey everyone.
Hi,
I shouldn't
Rachel.
say that.
Wow.
I should say hi Hal and hi Jim, not everyone.
Well, everyone will be watching, that's for sure.
Everybody will be watching. Rachel, thank you so very much for being here. We're excited to have you on. And I'm actually kind of shocked that you've never been on the Buzzcast before. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Um, do me a favor. Now, you and I have known each other for a couple of years now, and I know your background, but I'm going to guess some of the folks out there listening may not. So, what is your history in the appraisal business?
You bet. I'd love to share that. Um, Unlike a lot of folks in the industry, I didn't really have that familial connection that we hear so many folks have. I was first introduced to the career of real estate appraisal while I was working in the banking industry. And I worked for a savings and loan that actually had staff appraisers. I'm dating myself, I realize that. Um, this was in the Palm Springs area of Southern California. And, I would be standing behind the teller counter in a suit. And I would see these staff appraisers bop in and out of the bank all day long. And I just thought they were the coolest guys in the world. I'd often hear them debating in the lunchroom over locational adjustments or comp selection on a complicated property. And I was just fascinated by everything that they had to say. And, this is well before YouTube and Google. So I really couldn't figure out exactly what it was that they did. They were quite a mystery to me, but I was just so fascinated that I quietly stalked them for a couple of years in that particular environment. Really just pining over the career, if you will, but not really knowing how to get there. So fast forward a couple of years, I had moved to Arizona and I was working for the same savings and loan. And one of the high performing appraisers in that market area broke his foot. And he had a specialized skill set for high dollar properties. And he was unable to drive himself around. And so I quickly raised my hand and talked my supervisor into allowing me to take a couple of weeks to drive this gentleman around. And it was after that experience and that exposure that I was really hooked. And I knew that there was no stopping me. I had to become a real estate appraiser. And
So,
I knew that was for
a,
me.
a broken foot got your foot in the door.
Yes, that's exactly right.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, let's do this. Let's take a real quick break and give a shout out to one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Since 1978, LIA Administrators and Insurance Services has been offering E&O insurance to valuation professionals. LIA applies superior customer service, exceptional liability education from Peter Christensen, and unparalleled claim defense managed by Claudia Gaglioni. LIA offers errors and omissions, commercial bonds, general liability, cyber liability, and real estate agents and brokers E&O. Visit liability.com or call 800-334-0652.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Hal Humphreys. You're listening to the Appraisal Buzzcast. I'm joined today by my good friend, Rachel Beam. She is an interesting woman, and she just told us a little bit about her history in the appraisal business. Rachel, we're here today to talk about the ADI, the Appraiser Diversity Initiative, and how it's changing the industry. First of all, tell us what the ADI is.
Absolutely. So ADI is called the Appraiser Diversity Initiative. And it's an initiative that is designed to attract new entrants into the field of residential appraisal. And really, our efforts are about helping aspiring appraisers overcome barriers to entry, such as education, training, experience requirements. The initiative provides scholarships that cover the required courses to become a trainee appraiser. And we connect recipients of our scholarships with advisors who are valuation professionals across the nation to really help guide their careers. I'm really pleased to share that today we have awarded since 2018 over 450 scholarships. Nearly 100 of those scholarship recipients have completed their education today, with 60 scholarship winners working with their supervisor or employed in the industry in some way, shape or form.
That is fantastic. And I got to say, I had the opportunity to be involved in one of your outreaches at the Appraisers Conference and Trade Show out in Sacramento earlier this spring, and it was, the partnership with the NAA in that situation was fantastic, and getting that many people in the room that didn't have parents that were appraisers, that
Mhm.
didn't have someone to break their foot to get a foot in the door, that are interested in our profession, and the fact that the ADI is providing them the chance to not only learn about the profession, but to meet other professionals that have been doing this for a while. It's fantastic. And I had no idea you guys had 400 plus scholarships awarded to date. That's crazy.
Thank you.
How do you see the ADI changing the industry?
Mm. I think that the way we change the industry is one by one, right? Really fostering the diversity aspect, but then also supporting potential aspiring appraisers through their career. Um, ADI's structure focuses on raising awareness about the career. And we do this by four components that we really focus on. The four components are the outreach events, or we call them workshops, like you just talked about. And this is where we educate people on what it means to become an appraiser. And this is also where we open up the second component, which is the scholarship opportunity. Our scholarships include a package of support items, including covering the total cost of all required education to meet any and all state specific requirements to gaining a trainee license. The third and fourth components of ADI are the advisor program and the sponsorship program. And the advisor program is made up of actual appraisers from all over this country who donate their time and commit to mentoring our scholarship winners at least once a month. And then the sponsorship program includes over 25 companies today that support the initiative in a variety of ways. This includes monetary donation, which is really how we fund our scholarships.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I've heard this phrase a couple of times, and I think it's what makes this make sense to me. One of the goals of the ADI is to have the profession look like America.
Mhm. That's right. It's well established and well published that the appraiser demographics today do not reflect the US population. And there's many factors that can
Mhm.
contribute to potential bias in appraisal. And having an appraisal workforce that better represents the communities where we work can really instill confidence in the process and also help to mitigate bias. This is one of the reasons why we started and developed ADI in collaboration with the National Urban League. And this was actually the launch of it was back in 2018. And since that time period, we have grown significantly with other organizations joining as core partners.
Rachel, we've talked about the ADI. We've talked about y'all's involvement. Who all makes up ADI? What are the partners involved that are making this thing happen?
I'm so glad you asked that because ADI is truly an industry initiative. Today, ADI consists of four core partners. You have both GSEs, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, really involved and dedicated to this mission and to the initiative. And then you have the power of the Appraisal Institute, which is the largest appraisal organization in the world. And then you couple that with the power of the National Urban League, which is one of the largest community organizers in the country. We also have, you heard me talk about our sponsor program. We also have lenders, AMCs, and appraisal firms, both large and small, really supporting our efforts to support the new generation of aspiring appraiser trainees.
Well, the fact that you've got that much weight behind this and partnership is astonishing.
Thank you so much. It's truly a collective effort, and I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to steward this initiative. And I'm truly grateful for all the twists and turns that my career has taken over the years, and the ability and the opportunity that Fannie Mae has created by really allowing us to champion the profession in this way.
I love it. Well, let's do this. Let's take a real quick break and give another shout out to one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Did you know that NAN hosts quarterly discussions with our appraisal panel on bias, inclusion, equity, and diversity initiatives that impact the appraisal industry? The topic of bias in the appraisal world will remain at the forefront of legislative, agency, and lender priorities well into the future. At NAN, we believe that intentional bias is only a very small fraction of the underlying issue, and that outdated policies and regulations and unconscious bias are of far greater concern. It's our hope to work closely with the appraiser community as partners in an endeavor to improve processes and procedures and ensure equitable treatment for all valuations. Learn more by visiting nan-amc.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Hal Humphreys. I'm joined today by Rachel Beam. We're talking about the Appraiser Diversity Initiative. Rachel, let's talk about some success stories. Are there some anecdotes you can share with us of success stories, specific, you don't have to name names, but some specific stories that might illustrate how this program is successful?
Absolutely. So, I just attended a call last week where we were talking with several of our scholarship winners who have been connected with opportunities within the industry today. And a couple of those folks, one specifically moved to this country pretty recently, and he was actually an appraiser in another country. And when he moved to this country, he had to start the process all over again. And it's been really challenging for him to find the resources and the opportunities to support him through his journey. And he stumbled across the ADI program, attended one of our virtual workshops. He applied for the scholarship and won a scholarship. And today he is working for one of our sponsors. And when he tells his story, about how he came to this country and then how he found ADI and is now, working through the requirements, the state requirements for experience hours, you can't help but tear up just a little bit. It's quite moving. We have another scholarship winner that came across one of our videos on YouTube. And she took the initiative and drove to one of our events that was actually up in Las Vegas. And she was coming from Phoenix, Arizona, drove herself up there. And she attended this event, and then she presented a card to me, a business card. And in the card, it said Aspiring Real Estate Appraiser. And she really didn't have any other opportunities. She didn't exactly know everything that was required to become an appraiser, but she knew enough that she put forth that initiative and came up and introduced herself in that way. And then through the program, she was able to apply and of course receive the scholarship. She is also working for one of our sponsors. In fact, the same sponsor, receiving her experience hours today.
That's fantastic. See, I think the anecdotes, I think the personal stories really kind of bring this home. Let me ask you one last question about this. If there's an appraiser out there that would like to get involved and volunteer their time, or a company that wanted to support the ADI, how would they go about doing that?
It's really easy. We try to meet people where they are, especially when they want to support the program and the effort, because we do have a lot of things to do together. And I always say, this takes all of us to solve this challenge. And what they can do is they can reach out to us through the Appraisal Institute website, which is our official ADI communication page, or they can reach out to me, and I'm sure we can put my contact information as well as my team's contact information in the screen below.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Jim Morrison, do you mind to hop in with us real quick? Do we by chance have an anonymous appraiser question today, or are we going to talk about something else?
We don't have an anonymous appraiser question today. If anybody would like to send some in, we're always looking for anonymous appraiser questions. We won't give out your name. If you want us to, we will, though. But just reach out to comments@appraisalbuzz.com. But I wanted to take this time to talk about Rachel and the session that we have going at Valuation Expo, sponsored by Solidify, called Opening the Doors, How the Appraiser Diversity Initiative and PREA Are Changing the Face of the Appraisal Industry. So that's going to be a pre-conference session at Valuation Expo. We have special trainee passes for anyone that wants to come and check that out and see how to get into the industry. But we're really looking forward to it. We think it's going to be a great session, and Rachel will be headlining it, to say it.
So, Rachel, is that a panel, or is that your baby all alone? What's the story on that?
Yeah, so Solidify is one of our sponsors, and they've been very generous with their time and also all of the support that they have provided us through actually, I think, about 3 years they've been supporting ADI. And last year they hosted an event for the initiative, and this year is the same. This year the focus is really on PREA. And so there'll be 3 different panels, I believe, is what we're looking at today, for a rough estimate of what we think the session will look like. But 3 different panels where we talk about what PREA is. I think we'll have a live demo of PREA given by the Appraisal Institute, and we'll give that lender perspective of what PREA can mean to the industry. And then we'll talk about ADI and where we believe PREA can fit into the ADI effort as well.
I love it. That's going to be awesome. Jim, let's get back in here. I can't wait for this pre-conference thing. That's going to be great.
Yeah, we're really excited for it. Anybody that wants more information, just go to valuationexpo.com. We're about, I don't know when this is going to be released, but it's coming up soon, and this will be released before Valuation Expo.
Yeah, and if you haven't signed up for Val Expo yet, do it now. I think that wraps us up for the day. I want to thank Rachel Beam for being here, and Jim Morrison, as always, for hosting the podcast. I'm Hal Humphreys, and that's your Appraisal Buzzcast for this week.